Hi guys. A little bit earlier today I made two unboxing videos of a couple of DACs that I purchased this week to work in conjunction with my new laptop that I'll be using as a music server for one of my stereo systems. Now, the two DACs that I purchased are the Fosi Audio ZD3 and the FIIO K11 R2R DACs. Now, you can see that there's a significant difference between the two in terms of physical form factor, so I thought I'd make a little bit of a video to compare the two, just in terms of their, like I said, their form factor as well as the functionality that they have. I'm not going to touch on sound quality, obviously, I haven't even tried them yet. That said, let's start with the Fosi, which, as I mentioned, you can see that it's significantly larger than the FIIO. It's not only is it deeper, but it's taller in height as well. It's a little wider too. Now on the front you can see that there is a singular volume knob. It's the only control you see on the front. It doubles as a switch as well, so apparently you press it and you can select your inputs using this controller here. On the left hand side of the faceplate you'll see a little circular screen there, and on that screen will be displayed the volume as well as the input selection of the DAC. Now, thing has nice rounded edges here as well. I like the look of it. I do prefer the look of the FIIO better than this, but this is still not bad. It's a little bit nicer than I expected, I guess. Now on the back, flip it over, and you can see there's quite a bit of connectivity on this inexpensive unit. First, let's start with the 12 volt input right here. So that's for its power, uses a wall wart as I mentioned earlier in my other video. This one here has Bluetooth connectivity, which I'm not a fan of using Bluetooth, but it is handy to have from time to time. So that's a little bonus. This here has optical input. It has USB-A in, which I really appreciate over USB or USB mini, or was it micro? USB micro or USB-C. This is a lot more substantial than either of the other two versions, so I do prefer using this over those. You can see it also has a coaxial input right here, but it also has HDMI ARC in, which is very useful because it's a two-way communication system. So if you have your, for example, television connected to this unit here, you can use your TV's remote control to control this unit's volume. I'm sure there are other uses as well that I'm unaware of, but that's the first thing I could think of off the top of my head. Beyond that, it also has a couple of 12 volt triggers, so if you have other Fosi units, you can connect them up to this unit and use a singular power control to turn them all off and on. As far as outputs are concerned, this has the standard RCA outputs here, but it also comes with XLR outputs here, balanced outputs, which are very unusual to see on an item that's this inexpensive. So that would likely come in very handy if you have an amplifier, a matching Fosi amplifier, for example, with XLR inputs, or if you do have any other amplifier with XLRs. So that's a nice little bonus on this guy here. Now moving on to the Fosi, to the FIIO, you can see that it's, like I said, significantly smaller than the Fosi. It also can double as a preamplifier. Oh, I forgot to mention, this Fosi here does have a switch on the back of it, right there at the front. It's a bypass off and on switch, so that bypasses the volume control. In other words, it bypasses the preamp section on this thing, so it can work exclusively as a DAC, and apparently it gets better performance in that configuration. Now moving back onto the FIIO, the FIIO also doubles as a preamplifier if called upon, but it can be used as a standalone DAC as well, which that's how I'm going to be using it. It also has a digital display. It's an oblong display here. I think I like this style of display a little bit better than what you see on the Fosi. I do like the look of this one better than the Fosi, I must say. In addition to it being a preamplifier, this is also a headphone amplifier, and you have your 3.5 millimeter jack there and the 1/4 inch jack right here. It, like I said in my other video, it does come with an adapter if you only have 3.5 millimeter and you want to use the larger output. It has nice curved edges here. Kind of looks sort of like an Apple product in a way. Now on the back, we have fewer inputs than you'll see on the Fosi. It has your USB in, it has the optical in, and it has a coaxial input and output, which is convenient as well. This also runs off a 12-volt DC switching wall wart, so in the future that can be upgraded to a linear power supply, and apparently it makes a fairly significant difference. So unlike the Fosi, this one here only comes with the single-ended RCA line outs, which is fine by me. I don't have any amplifiers that use XLR at this stage in the game. So looks to me like this one's going to be perfectly adequate for my liking. This is an R2R DAC, so it's a resistor DAC. It's a little bit different than the Fosi DAC. That's a Delta Sigma DAC. So this one, this FIIO here, it sort of mimics what you'd see in higher end DACs using slightly older technology, believe it or not. But apparently it leads to a warmer, more lush presentation. So something I look forward to comparing over the weekend. And between these two DACs, whichever comes out on top over the weekend, the other's going back in the box and back to the cellar. Anyway, that's all I've got for you on these guys here. A little bit of a comparo, and we'll see which one comes out on top. We'll see you guys later. Take care.